this one guy walked up to us, and he had something wrong with him.
He had a stroke.
That's
so
what it
he
was.
was walking around with a cane. And I was like,
kind of limping
like,
around.
okay, this guy definitely wants to talk to me. He like flagged me down so he could talk to me. And I'm like, all right, fine. Like, I got a disability. You got a disability. He must not be a part of the same email list that I'm on, because we all know each other. Obviously, there's like the wheelchair email list. There's like the cane email list. There's the crutches. There's email lists for all the disabilities. Just we all know each other, didn't you know? So he just starts talking to me and just keeps talking to me. And we come to find out that like he lives in Hawaii, and he couldn't afford tickets to come to the conference, but he could come hang out in the lobby because his wife works for Delta. So he gets to fly for free. So he flew to LA and then came and hung out in the lobby of the conference
but didn't have a ticket. And he also didn't have a hotel. He was sleeping in the airport.
He was sleeping at the airport. So he would just go through TSA and just like keep sleeping in the airport because he had this like buddy pass from his wife or something. It was quite an interesting situation. It was such a long convo that you left to go to the bathroom.
And then I was hoping that by the time I came back from the bathroom, that convo would be over.
No. So then I left to go to the bathroom, and I stayed gone for as long as I could, hoping that you would break away, and it didn't happen again. And I was like, dude, how are we gonna
break away?
How
from
can we
this
break
guy?
away from this guy? And then I finally just rolled up, and I just didn't talk. I just like waited for him. I just waited for him to like run out of words and not give him any more lead into the conversation. Like not even a or a yep, just waiting
for him to shut up.
And then finally, like you were completely turned around. I was mostly turned around, like, okay, bye, see ya. And he was like, hey, wait, before you go, like, can I pray for you? And in
do you mind if I pray for you?
And in my head, I'm like, yeah, sure. When you go to bed at night, like, yeah, you can pray for me. Like, I wasn't thinking he was going to, in that moment, like put hands on me and start praying.
But that is exactly what he did.
That's exactly what he did. And let me tell you, it was awkward. Because to me, dude, praying for a disabled person is very offensive for many ways. And it's so annoying because it's the assumption that we can get better. It's the assumption, like my friend Pitt, he's an amputee, and they'll like pray for his legs to grow back. You know, like that doesn't.
Lord God, I pray for growth.
And also, it's like
they ain't growing back. I hate to break it to you, dude.
Yeah, it's like I'm not gonna get any better from this. And it's almost a way to like talk to someone without actually talking to them directly. You're like talking to a spirit or something.
That is true.
You know, it's like, you know, let me just bless you. And it's like, no, you can just like look at me in the eye and you can say those things to me. You don't have to pretend to be talking to some God and then like say it to me. Like that's okay.
Well, to them, they're not pretending, but whatever.
To them, it's not. You're right. And then it's also like in my head, like it's for them. It's not for me. What basically they're saying is like, can I show you how spiritual I am and how much I love God? Because I'm going to pray to him for you.
Yeah. I mean,
it's kind of, I just find it rude and almost disrespectful. And to the point.
Again, like people always, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. They have good intentions. I don't think anyone's like trying to patronize you, but it is patronizing.
Extremely. And I even think about
because it happens a lot.
Oh, too much. To the point where people are like, can I pray for you? And I'm like, yeah, just not right now. Which is my way of saying like, you can go pray for me somewhere else. Or when they're like, hey, can I pray for you? I'm like, yeah, tonight when you're in bed, you can. Like I always like lead it up to this thing where I'm like, yeah, sure. Like on your own time, like I'm doing things right now. Don't touch me.
And it's like, people might be like, oh, well, they're just being nice, blah, blah, blah. But like, I'm an able-bodied person. I haven't had anyone offer to pray for me in years. You know what I mean? Like,
why would anybody? Yeah, because they're just assuming you're
and the last time it was like at church or like at church camp or something. Like it wasn't like in a random Target where I like met someone briefly and they're like, hey, do you mind if I pray for you?
Yeah.
And it's like, no.
I also remember like when
happened to me.
When I was a Christian, which for those of you that don't know, I'm no longer a Christian. I remember there were the people that were like the pray in public people, and a lot of us were like, oh God, it's the pray in public people. Because if you actually read the Bible, you know that Jesus condemned people that prayed in public. The Pharisees were the ones that used to walk around in public and would pray as a way to like show off and like flex on their holiness. And Jesus is like, no, you need to pray in private. Quit showing it off like this is something to be like, show off your relationship with a God or something like that. Like
it's the same thing as when you're at a question and answer and someone like asks a question that's not really a question and they're really just trying to flex on how much they know. Like in Jordan Peterson, he does these podcasts where it's literally just like a lecture, and at the end he does Q&A, and And so many of the questions are just these like student, because they'll do them at colleges, and it's these like psychology students that
Or
are just trying to like
students or something.
They're just trying to prove how much they know. To like, oh, I loved when you talked about Nietzsche, because my favorite part of Nietzsche's writing is actually this book where he talks about this and this and this. And I just thought it was so amazing that you talked about Nietzsche, because I'm such a big Nietzsche fan, and blah 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 blah. And they're basically just trying to like stunt on everyone that they like the same stuff that Jordan Peterson likes. And at the end they ask like such a non-question, like, so do you really think the blah 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 blah? And he's like,
yep.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when we were at Vid Summit.
Oh my God.
Some guy literally had a 10-minute question
that ended in a yep.
And the guy at the end was like, yep.
And the guy was, oh my gosh, thank you. It was so cringe.
It's like he basically asked a question and then answered his own question and then just verified that was the correct answer
and kept repeating the same words over and over. He was.
I left to go to the bathroom, and it takes me a little bit long to pee. And when I came back, I was like, "Is that the same guy?"
It literally was.
Is that the same guy?
Everyone in that room was like, "Shut up!" Like we were all thinking it, and the guy on stage was just crossing his arms and had like he was like cocked to one side. And
you could tell he was
this
irritated.
Fucking jackass! When is he gonna shut up? But yeah, that happens a lot, and I feel like that's kind of sometimes the equivalent of the praying in public.
Yeah, but again, it kind of goes to the like, what's the automatic perception of a person who uses a wheelchair or a disabled person? That they're broken. And the only way for them to be a complete and whole person is for them to be healed. So by coming up to me and being like, can I pray for you? Sometimes I'll be like, why? And they'll be like, oh, because for your healing. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with me. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm fine. Like, I'm good. I don't need you to do this. It's like, because technically, let's imagine that prayer worked, and let's imagine that miracles were real, and someone prayed over me, and all of a sudden I wasn't paralyzed anymore. I couldn't do this anymore. I couldn't help people anymore. I couldn't have the lifestyle that I have. I wouldn't want that. So it's like, no, please don't pray for me. Like, even like
Aaron Wheels, who's like probably the most famous person in a wheelchair, not in a wheelchair, you know what I mean?
Yes.
He has spina bifida. He can walk a little bit. He's not permanently bound or anything, but he is a wheelchair user. He's probably the most famous one. He's the guy that does the backflips on Nitro Circus. And even he says, no, please don't. Like when people are like, hey, can I pray for you? And it's like, no. Like, and he's religious. Like he literally said that in a video that was made by his church. Yeah. And he talks about it. He's like, you don't have to pray for me. Like, I'm not, like, I was born this way, yo. Like, I'm not getting any better. Like,
he's like, my wheels will take me further than shoes have ever taken me.
My wheels have taken me further than shoes would have ever taken me. And that's so freaking true, dude. And it's like, I've heard even like people, because I'm deep in this wheelchair world now. It's like, I've heard people talk about like, oh, Heavenly Father, I pray that, one day in heaven he gets to walk. And it's like, why do you think I want to walk so fucking bad? Like, it's like the wheelchair is not...
Don't project this on me.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't make what you think about me...
You're broken and you need to be whole.
Make what I think about me. Like, I'm fine. I'm good. Like, I don't need you to take your misconstrued perspective of what my life is and then pray for it to be fixed when it's not broken. Like, I'm fine.
You're good.
It's like, it's the same thing as like when you get applauded for being like happy. Like if I'm like a happy person in a wheelchair, you get like applauded for that. And it's like, so you're telling me that all people in wheelchairs need to be sad?
The default is sad because you're broken.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, like there's so many like incorrect misconceptions. And a guy named Eric talks about like the misdiagnosis. Like someone sees wheelchair, they automatically think, oh, this guy just got out of surgery, like he can't walk, like his legs are broken, like let me go help him push, or let me go open up a door for him. And it's like, no, like pause, look at my fitness, look at the wheelchair I'm in. Do you see any bandages or wounds on me? It's like, you need to just like, I have no casts, like I'm driving.
Your wheelchair has no push handles.
There's no push handles on this thing. Like it's clearly like this is my thing, And God, I even get annoyed at the questions like, hey, like how long are you gonna be in there? Forever. It's like it's not a different kind of injury because it's an injury that lasts forever that you can improve a little bit depending on how hard you work, but it's like 2 to 3% of people that get a spinal cord injury can quote unquote walk out of rehab.
Yeah, but here's the thing too. That's why we're doing this podcast, to educate people so that they know what's up. you know, because I
Exactly.
wouldn't have known. I don't know.
I would have known, but either, you know what I mean? I can't fault people. Like, I was an able-bodied person before I was disabled, which meant I had some type of preconceived notions about what disability was. And then I got hurt and I projected all of those projections onto myself. And then I was like, okay, gotta fit the stereotype. And it was just very weird, because even when I would be out in public and people would look at me, I would think that they were looking at me the way that I looked at disabled people, which was not good. You know, it's this very interesting, like, a lot of guys in chairs when they first get hurt are too embarrassed to go out. They're like, I don't want to be seen. I don't want people to like think X about me. And it's like, when people don't, you do about yourself, but you think it's other people that think it. You know, it kind of, I think that's more of a correct understanding of, like, I guess the word ableism is like this idea of like, I think it's called internalized ableism. It's basically like when you low key, whether you know it or not, like have hate for disabled people, and then you become disabled. So then you have like hate in your own heart for yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like this whole discovery process, because you have to figure out like how much your body functions does not dictate your worth, because you used to dictate your worth based on your body's functions.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, but you know, I think able-bodied folks are bad at a quick diagnosis. You know, they just see wheelchair and apply the stereotype that they know.
Exactly.
Hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want the full episode, you can click right here. If you want to subscribe, click here. If you want more clips, we got 2 more right over here.